The California sun blazes over Beverly Hills, casting golden reflections off million-dollar glass. Inside a Ferrari showroom, silence reigns. Not the peaceful kind, but the kind that judges you without a word. The doors swing open. A man walks in alone. He's not dressed like the usual clientele. No designer suit, no Rolex. Just worn jeans, a simple black t-shirt, scuffed boots, and a silver crucifix hanging softly around his neck. His face is partially hidden beneath sunglasses, his hair tied back. A gentle beard covers his jaw. He doesn't look like a billionaire, but that's the point. He's not here to show off. The two salesmen near the reception desk glance at him, share a smug smirk. Another looky-loo, one mutters. Probably here to take selfies. They don't offer help, they don't even smile. And when he walks over to the Ferrari Roma Spider, a car that costs more than most homes, they act like he's about to scratch it. Then enters the manager. Sharp suit, sharper tongue. He walks up with a rehearsed grin that disappears the moment he sees the crucifix. Manager. Faith is beautiful, but it doesn't pay for cars like this. The man stops. He doesn't flinch, doesn't fight back. Instead, he gently places a hand on his chest, over the crucifix, and asks softly, "Keanu, do you believe in anything, sir?" The manager laughs, cold and condescending. Manager. I believe in numbers, bank accounts, that kind of thing. He waves him off like a gnat. This showroom is for real customers. And just like that, he gestures toward the door. No one gasps, no one interferes. The cameras don't flash. No one knows. No one realizes they've just kicked out Keanu Reeves, not just a Hollywood icon, but the guest of honor at Ferrari's biggest international event, happening that very night. Inside the gleaming Ferrari showroom, time seems to slow. Keanu walks past carbon fiber wheels and polished glass as if he's in a museum, not a marketplace. His eyes lock on one model, the Roma Spider. Sleek, subtle, a machine that speaks in whispers, not roars. But behind him, whispers of a different kind are brewing. Two salesmen lean close, their voices low but sharp. Salesman 1. You think he even knows how much that thing costs? Salesman 2. Guy looks like he Ubered here from a church basement. They chuckle. One of them pulls out a cleaning cloth and pretends to polish a car near Keanu, just to keep an eye on him. The manager watches from across the room, arms folded. His face says it all, judgment passed. He steps forward again. Manager, sir, maybe you'd be more comfortable at one of our used lots. There's one across town. They're friendlier to walk-ins. Keanu says nothing. He gently reaches out to the Roma Spider's mirror, not to touch it, just to observe the craftsmanship. His focus is on the machine, not the noise around him. A small pause, a breath. Then a young salesman, David, maybe 23, starts to step forward. Something in him knows this isn't right. But the manager shoots him a look. He freezes. Across the showroom, a glamorous couple enters. The man wears a crisp cream suit. The woman drapes herself in a branded designer gown. Instantly, the staff comes alive. Smiles, champagne, attention. All the warmth that was withheld from Keanu is poured onto them. Lucia, the quiet assistant who serves espresso and wipes smudges, off-doors watches from a corner. Her eyes follow Keanu. There's something familiar about him, something important, but she keeps silent. Back at the center of the showroom, Keanu turns toward the manager. Keanu, I'd like to learn more about this model, if that's all right. The manager doesn't even respond. He just gestures to the exit. Manager, we don't offer specs to browsers. The insult hits harder than a shout. Keanu says nothing. No argument, no complaint. But deep inside the walls of that polished dealership, a quiet storm is forming. The laughter of the rich couple echoes like a drum roll for arrogance. Keanu remains by the Roma Spider, his calm presence stark against the theatrical energy around him. He's not here to make noise. But that seems to bother the manager even more. He walks toward Keanu again, slower this time, like a cat circling its prey. Manager, let me be clear. This isn't a sightseeing tour. We don't need people wasting time and touching cars they can't Afford. Keanu looks at him steady. Keanu, I haven't touched anything. Manager, but you were about to. That line hangs in the air. It's not about fingerprints, it's about power. A mother and child walk in behind them, clearly wealthy, dressed in high-end leisure wear. The boy stops, wide-eyed, and points. Boy. Dad, isn't that the guy from the movies? The father glances at Keanu and scoffs. Father, no son, that's just someone pretending to be famous. Probably wants free photos for social media. Keanu's eyes meet the boy's. He smiles softly, the kind of smile that children don't forget. The boy smiles back, but the father pulls him along. Lucia watches from the far end of the room, her hands trembling slightly as she wipes the same spotless glass door for the third time. Something isn't right. Her instincts scream it. At that moment, Keanu's phone buzzes. A reminder flashes across the screen. Ferrari International Gala, Guest of Honor, 8:00 p.m. He silences it, quietly. The manager catches a glimpse of the screen but doesn't care enough to read. His mind is made up, his ego locked in. He points toward the door again. Manager, you've got 3 seconds to walk out or I'll have security escort you. The injustice isn't loud, it's precise, clinical, cold. But for the first time there's a flicker in the air, like the pause before thunder. Keanu slowly walks toward the exit, passing displays of luxury untouched by their glare. He doesn't say another word, but the moment he reaches the glass doors, he pauses. And that's when the storm begins to turn. The dealership falls into a performance, the kind where everyone pretends they didn't just witness something wrong. Keanu stands at the entrance, his back to the showroom, his reflection caught in the spotless glass. Behind him, the sound of corks popping, laughter echoing, and shoes clicking on marble floors. The orchestra of elitism. No one stops him. No one apologizes. No one even whispers in protest. Lucia clutches her cleaning, cloth tighter. She wants to speak, but the words are heavy, stuck behind years of knowing her voice doesn't matter here. The manager returns to his post, feeling triumphant. Manager. Another pretender taken care of. Junior salesman David approaches him cautiously. David, sir, I think he might be someone. He looked... Manager. They all look like someone. If he was important, we'd know. This is Beverly Hills, not a church thrift store. Behind them, the European influencer couple is led into a VIP room. A velvet curtain is drawn back, revealing a limited edition Ferrari. Champagne is poured. Cameras click. Staff swarm around them, like bees to royalty. Meanwhile, outside the glass, Keanu lifts his phone, not to call, not to film, but to quietly snap a single photo. His lens captures the sign on the wall just behind the manager. We reserve the right to refuse service to anyone. Click just one frame, not for revenge, for proof, for memory, for timing. Inside, Lucia watches the manager, still smug, already flirting with the next customer. She turns her head and stares out the window, only to see Keanu walking away. Slow, steady, unbothered, but unforgettable. She feels it in her chest. Something is wrong. Not just today. This place. A customer's child tugs on her mother's sleeve. Child mom, that man outside looked like someone really good. The mother shrugs. Mother. People who look good don't dress like that. The door closes behind him. Keanu Reeves has been dismissed, judged, and publicly shamed by the very brand that will honor him on a red carpet in just a few hours, and no one inside knows yet. Inside the dealership, everything moves on like nothing happened. Cars are wiped, glasses refilled, egos polished. But in the corner, Lucia is no longer wiping glass. She's on her phone, heart racing. She types quickly, Keanu Reeves, Ferrari, Gala, Beverly Hills, tonight. Her screen flashes. A headline appears at the top of the search results. Keanu Reeves to be honored at Ferrari International Gala. Tonight for humanitarian efforts in Sudan and Ukraine. Her eyes widen. She stares at the photo in the article. It's him, the man they just kicked out. Her stomach drops. She looks across the floor at the manager, who's now laughing with a group of influencers completely unaware. Lucia steps closer, phone trembling in her hand. Lucia, sir, do you know who that was? Manager, if I cared, I would have, asked Lucia. You just kicked out tonight's guest of honor. The manager frowns. Manager, what are you talking about? She turns the screen toward him. The headline is bold, the photo unmistakable. Lucia, that was Keanu Reeves. Ferrari International is honoring him tonight. The man you threw out. His face pales instantly. A champagne flute in his hand trembles just slightly. He says nothing, not because he's stunned, but because he has no script for this moment. From the far corner, the European client in the linen blazer, the one who casually recorded earlier, rewinds the video on his phone. It captured Keanu, the crucifix, the rejection, the tension, all of it. He watches the clip again, and this time, he knows. The manager swallows hard. Manager, what do we do now? Lucia, pray. He doesn't remember your face. But deep down, they both know. He doesn't need to remember. The internet will, because the photo Keanu took has already been uploaded. And in the next section, the world will begin to react. Outside, the dealership, Keanu walks the Beverly Hills sidewalk like any other pedestrian. There are no flashing lights, no reporters, no entourage. Only a quiet man, with purpose in his steps and a storm in his silence. He reaches the end of the block, pauses, opens his phone, uploads one photo. The image is simple. A gleaming wall, plaque that reads, "We reserve the right to refuse service to anyone," and just barely in the corner, the smug face of the dealership manager. Within minutes, the post goes live. No caption, no rant, just, sometimes humility gets shown the door, but values walk in anyway. Inside the dealership, the mood shifts. Lucia returns to her usual spot, but she's not the same. She watches the manager pace, restless now, mumbling to himself. The junior salesman who tried to speak up earlier whispers, David. He really was Keanu Reeves? Lucia, yes. And Ferrari is honoring him tonight. A ringtone breaks the tension. The manager's phone buzzes, an internal alert. Then another, and another. Notifications flood in. Mentions, DMs. A message from corporate. Was Keanu Reeves at your dealership earlier today? His hands begin to shake. In the corner, the European influencer leans against a car, scrolling through his video footage. He edits a short clip, overlays a quote from Keanu's charity speech 2 years ago, and hits upload. Title: Ferrari dealer rejects Keanu Reeves 5 hours before honoring him. It spreads like wildfire. Outside, Keanu returns to the edge of the dealership for just a moment. He doesn't enter. He simply stands at the glass door and pulls a small white business card from his pocket. He hands it to the confused security guard. The guard walks it inside and hands it to the manager. It reads, "My name is Keanu Reeves, but you can call me a potential client." The manager reads it, blinks, and realizes he may have just made the costliest mistake of his career. Inside the dealership, tension crawls up the walls like invisible fire. The manager stands stiff, gripping the business card Keanu left behind. His confident smirk is gone, replaced by pale silence. Across the floor, employees exchange looks. No one speaking loudly anymore. Even the customers have noticed the strange energy in the air. Lucia walks forward, no longer hiding in the background. She meets the manager head-on. Lucia, you still think he was nobody? Manager, I didn't realize. He wasn't dressed like... Lucia, like what? Like someone who deserves respect? Before he can answer, his phone buzzes again. A call from Ferrari International, headquarters. He fumbles to answer it. Manager, yes, I understand there's been a misunderstanding. He came in. Yes, I know who he is now. A pause, then a cold, clipped response from the other end. Ferrari executive Keanu Reeves doesn't cause misunderstandings. He reveals them. The call ends without ceremony. The manager lowers the phone slowly, eyes hollow. Across the room, a customer finishes reviewing his earlier video. It clearly shows Keanu being dismissed, his silver crucifix catching the light. The footage isn't dramatic, but it's powerful, quietly devastating. People are watching, and now they're realizing. The showroom's main screen, used for advertising promotions, suddenly changes. The usual Ferrari logo fades, replaced by a live press image from the gala event. Keanu Reeves, guest of honor, celebrated for global humanitarian work and compassionate leadership. The staff stare. A few whisper. The manager turns away, chest heaving, with a mix of regret and fear. He doesn't need to say it. Everyone now sees the truth for themselves. The man they kicked out is the man the world is about to celebrate, and there's no hiding from it anymore. Night begins to fall over Beverly Hills, but inside the Ferrari showroom, time feels frozen. The manager stands frozen beneath the massive screen. Keanu's photo, now glowing above him, smiling humbly, silver crucifix shining against a black suit. The caption from Ferrari's official page reads, "Tonight we honor a man whose values are bigger than any brand." The staff stop what they're doing. Even the influencers grow quiet. Every pair of eyes turns toward the man who sent Keanu. Reeves out the door. Lucia steps forward, steady now, voice unshaking. "Lucia, they're not just honoring him, they're building a campaign around him, his values, his kindness, his humility." The manager tries to speak, but his voice catches. "Manager, this was just a misunderstanding. I didn't know." "Lucia, you didn't care to know." At that exact moment, the showroom doors slide open again. Everyone turns, half expecting to see Keanu back in his jeans and t-shirt. Instead, it's a courier, silent, dressed in black. He hands an envelope to the receptionist, who walks it straight to the manager. Inside is a single letterhead, printed with Ferrari International's seal. It reads, "Effective immediately. We are suspending all regional partnerships with the Beverly Hills branch pending an internal ethics review. Brand image must reflect the soul of our company, not just its speed." The manager's face turns to stone. No shouting, no begging, just silence, the kind that feels like collapse. Outside, the streets are glowing with flashbulbs. The gala is starting. Across town, Keanu Reeves steps onto the red carpet, now wearing a tailored black suit. Simple, elegant, and still wearing that same silver crucifix around his neck. He doesn't gloat. He doesn't even bring up what happened. He just smiles for the cameras, shakes hands with global executives, and heads inside. Inside the dealership, Lucia looks out the glass and whispers to herself, "Lucia. Now that's what power really looks like." By morning, the Ferrari dealership in Beverly Hills is no longer quiet, but not because of customers. It's the sound of reckoning. Corporate executives have already landed from Milan. News vans are parked across the street, and the showroom staff stand lined up, not for a client, but for an investigation. Lucia arrives early, dressed simply but standing tall. The shy, invisible assistant from yesterday? She's now the quiet voice everyone listens to. The manager is nowhere to be seen. Inside the office, he's seated alone. His badge removed, his phone confiscated, and a termination letter waiting for his signature. No camera crew records this fall. No social media post will explain it, but everyone inside the dealership knows. You don't just insult a man like Keanu Reeves, you insult everything he represents. Meanwhile, across the city, Keanu finishes his morning coffee on a rooftop terrace. The sun climbs gently behind him, catching the soft glint of the silver crucifix around his neck. His phone vibrates. A message from Ferrari International. "We've taken care of it. Thank you for showing us what matters. We're launching a new division, Ethics and Humanized Service. We'd like your input." He reads it, then places the phone face down. He didn't do any of this to punish. He did it to remind. At the dealership, A new plaque is being installed above the entrance. This one doesn't talk about refusal of service. It says, "Every person deserves respect, before we know their name." Lucia watches as it's mounted, then walks inside with purpose. For the first time, she's not the girl who blends in, she's part of the change. Back on the rooftop, Keanu stands, picks up his jacket, and steps into the day. No entourage, no headlines, just peace. Because the loudest victories are the ones you never have to shout about. The world didn't stop spinning because a man was judged. But for a moment, something shifted. One man walked into a showroom wearing humility. He was dismissed because of a crucifix, ignored because of his clothes, and judged before anyone cared to ask his name. That man didn't raise his voice. He didn't shame anyone online. He didn't storm out or shout back. He just walked away and let the truth follow him. That's Keanu Reeves, and while cameras often catch his face on red carpets or film sets, they rarely capture what makes him unforgettable: his quiet refusal to let arrogance win. Because real strength doesn't boast, it doesn't humiliate, it doesn't need approval to be right. At the Ferrari gala that night, applause thundered when he took the stage. Not for his movies, not for his fame, but for his humanity. He didn't mention the dealership. He didn't need to. He spoke instead about dignity, about how the world doesn't need more luxury, it needs more love. He said, "Keanu, faith is not a trend, it's not an accessory. It's the compass that keeps us kind in places that worship image over integrity." And that's what people remembered. Not the suit, not the car, but the man who let silence speak louder than revenge, who walked out the door like a nobody and returned as someone unforgettable. So if you've ever been dismissed, overlooked, or judged for what you wear, what you believe, or where you come from, remember this: you don't have to raise your voice to be heard. Sometimes, the quietest people carry the heaviest light. And in a world obsessed with who's loudest, richest, or best dressed, be the one who never forgets what truly matters. If this story moved you, then hit that like button, smash subscribe, and turn on the bell. Because at Veil Break Stories, we don't just tell stories, and we tear the veil off the truth.